So let me share my screen. Okay, so the ET problem. I don't have it here. Let me do this. So I need to go to CyberLab problems. And we are on. It's not working. ET. All right, let me grab this binary. So ET is trying to phone home on port 11. Blah 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 blah. We need it so that ET can phone home when it runs this binary. So here, if I bring up a terminal and cd sudo and I need to, let's make a directory pt cd and let me wget the file. This is my file. Let me make it executable. Run it. Looks like the host name is valid. Make sure, have you made it so that ET phone home leads back to your loopback address yet? What does that mean? What is the loopback address?
It's your home address.
So if we look at our IP addresses, so if I do IPC, here are the devices that we have, our network devices, right? We have ETH0, which has our public or our IP address. Let me not say public, but our IP address. And then we have LO, which is our loopback address and has an address of 127.0.0.1. Right, so we saw earlier today, I was using this as my local host, right? Local host points back to this. And what the problem is saying is that when when the binary tries to reach out to et.phone home, it needs to be connecting to my loopback address. How can we do that? How can, right? So this binary is going to make a request to this ET phone home server name, right? So we know when a application makes a request to a server name, DNS is involved. DNS is then what maps that name to the IP address, right? But in this case, there is no DNS server that's going to map ET phone home. So instead, what we need to use is we need to use a file called hosts with an S, and it's in our etc directory. So if we cd our etc directory and do an ls, let's do an lsh star, ls -1 h star. And here we have all this file hosts. And if we cat etc, or let's actually just open it in Vim because we need to edit it. Here we have entries, IP address mapped to server names, right? 127.0.0.1 is mapped to localhost. 127.0.1.1 is mapped to the name that I've given this machine, this demo machine. And there's some other machines that you'll get to know later. But essentially what we need to do is we need to make an address for ET phone home, but make it our loopback address, right? So we saw with the IP, if we go here and we do our loopback device is listening on 127.0.0.1. So make a address for that device and call it et.phonehome, I believe is the name that it was looking for. Is that correct? I guess we'll see. So now with that entry, the Etsy host file is what it's essentially a DNS mapping file where you can hard code some entries, right? So if on your home network, if you don't want to set up a DNS server, but instead you want your machines to all know each other, well, I think it's actually on a modern router, this will be taken care of for you a lot of times. But if your router doesn't support multicast DNS, then what you'll need to do is then on each server, you can go into, on each machine, go and edit the Etsy host file. Your Windows machines have this as well. On Windows, your host file is located in Windows System 32, drivers, Etsy, then there's host. But now with that entry, when this machine makes that lookup, it's going to look in Etsy host, see that name exists, and it's going to map it to that IP address that's an Etsy host, which in this case is the local machine. And so, did I give it the wrong name?
You need to set up a server to listen.
Oh, I need to listen on the port as well. And so what I will do is I will just listen on the port. And for me, that port number was 1199.7. So NVLP 1199.7. I'm listening. And here, wait, what was the name? et.phone.home, so that's good. It's just cat host to make sure, et.phone.home. So it should be good to go. /et. And there we go. If we go here, there's our flag. Any questions about that? Etsy host is essentially, you just think about it as an old school way of doing those DNS mappings. All right, and also what I want to read, we talked about Telnet, and this is not really anything useful, but it's just a cute thing that's still out there from back in the days. And so Telnet is still around, it's available on most machines. And what somebody has done is they've made, Telnet's text-based, right? It's like SSH, you're getting your text-based terminal. And somebody's made it so that if you want to watch Star Wars, you can watch a Star Wars version, a text-based version of Star Wars by telnetting to this address. So if you telnet to this address, here's just the beginning credits. And I thought about this because Vinny was actually talking about how he hasn't seen Star Wars yet. So Vinny, if you don't mind watching it in text, you can come to this site and open up your terminal, and then you get your Star Wars. You get your fix of Star Wars. So
I have Disney Channel now. I'm gonna watch soon.
And so yeah, that's that. And any questions? Other questions about any of the problems that we've in the Cyber Labs today?
Did you put that link in the chat, please?
Oh yes, for sure.
So Frank, I have a question actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So the local host 127.0.0.1, does that consider our server?
Yes, that is this machine. On any machine that you go in and you type in 127.0.0.1, any traffic that you send to 127.0.0.1 is coming back to that machine, that particular machine that you're on. So it's like my name or my social security number. It's always referring to that machine that you're on.
Yeah, I like to think of it as the computer word for I. So
Yes.
whoever's saying it, that's who they're referring to.
And it's also think about it because it's loop back. It's looping is coming right back. It's like this is how if you're a developer and you're building a website and you have it on your local machine and you want to test it, you go to that local host address and it comes right back to you. But it's like simulating that round trip, but it's not really because it's local. It comes right back to you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then in the Slack, let me put that. All right. So we got about 20 more minutes until lunch. Chris's Git demo is going to be happening at 1:30. We're going to keep promoting that. But if there are no other questions, then I'll just let you get back to it, and you can stop at 1 o'clock for your lunch. All right, I'll open the rooms back up.